My name is Gabe Ferris. My family and we have a family farming operation here in Mercer County, Kentucky. We farm about 3,500 acres. We've been here about 6 years. But the story of how we got here is kind of interesting. My mom and dad both were born and raised in southern Indiana. And my dad's story is kind of the story of the American dream. He knew from a young age that he wanted to farm. And so there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity for him there in Indiana. Meanwhile, there was a land rush of sorts kind of going on out in the panhandle of Texas. There was a lot of farmers moving from the Midwest down to the panhandle of Texas. It was a very productive area. So he saw that opportunity and decided that's what he wanted to do. So in 1984, he loaded up his wife and 2-year-old son, which happened to be me, in the back of a 1976 Monte Carlo, and we all headed to Texas through a lot of hard work, and he was able to work for some farmers there in Texas and eventually purchase his own land and turned that into a very successful farming operation. I was able to join the family farming operation in 2004. I got my degree from West Texas A&M in ag business and joined the operation, and we had a very successful 30 years in Texas. One of the challenges of Texas was the climate. It was very dry, so we had to irrigate all of our crops. We were just constantly drilling new wells to try to keep up, and so for the long-term sustainability of the farm, we decided to search for somewhere that got a little more rain. So we searched and found this farm here in Kentucky, and we were able to sell our farm in Texas and move here, and it's been a really good move. We've enjoyed living in Kentucky, and it sure rains a lot more here. Today I thought I would just kind of walk you through a season of the farm, kind of from start to finish, and kind of highlight some of our equipment that we use and some of the science and technology behind that. Okay, so on our farm we're about 50-50 corn and soybeans. So half of our crop is soybeans and half is corn. Most of the corn goes to animal feed eventually. Some of it goes to the local bourbon industry, but most of it we ship out to go for cattle feed, and then the soybeans, a lot of them are taken to the river in Louisville and put on barges. There's a lot of export to other countries through that, and then also some of it is crushed, where they separate the soybean oil from the soybean meal, and then the meal is used in a lot of animal feeds. So we just finished up harvest here on the farm. A lot of people ask, once you finish harvest, what do you do in the wintertime? And so as soon as that last combine rolls out of the field, we're already preparing for next year. So right now we've already planted a cover crop out in the fields of cereal rye. The cereal rye just is really good for the soil. It helps with soil erosion. It also helps build organic matter in the soil. So we have that all established out in the field right now. And then the next step is we will go through the farm and take soil samples. We'll probably take anywhere from 700 to 800 soil samples across the field at different points. And then we send those off to the laboratory where they analyze all the different nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, the pH, and then they give us recommendations based off of those numbers of what they think the field needs. And based off of that, we can build maps. We can build maps that for each field that kind of tell us exactly where it needs different nutrients in the fields. And then based off of those maps, we can build prescriptions that we can actually import into our different implements that apply fertilizer. And so it's a very efficient way of applying fertilizer. So the parts of the field that need more fertilizer get it, and the parts that don't, we're not over applying. So we do a lot of that in the wintertime. We also pick out our seed for next year, and the seed in the last 50 years, just the hybrids that they've come out with. There's just so much science and technology that has gone into that, and the breeding of the different plants. So we can pick a field that may not be as productive, and you can go through and there's different ratings on the seeds that tell which seed would be best for that certain acre. So it's really neat to be able to sit down and pick out all the seeds. That's kind of what we do all through the winter, and then when it starts warming up in the spring, around March or so, we'll start with our first application of herbicide for the weeds. All right, so after we get everything planted and up through the summer months, our main goal is just to keep the plant just as healthy as can be. As farmers, we can't grow the seed or grow the crop, but what we can do is provide the best environment for it. So we do that through different fertilizer applications. We'll put on nitrogen when the corn is about knee-high or so. We'll go through with a nitrogen application, and then a couple more passes with weeds. For weeds, we'll spray with a sprayer. And then at the end of the summer, once the corn is tasseling, we'll put on a fungicide application. So that's to help any diseases that are forming in the plant. And then as the season goes on, probably usually around the end of September or so is when we start harvest. So we'll kind of watch the corn plant. It's all based off of the moisture of the plant when we begin harvest. So we'll take test samples of the corn, and we'll usually around 24% moisture or so is when we'll start with harvest.
Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more STEM with Chantel videos, check out this playlist. If you want to know when JCPL puts out more content, click the subscribe button and the notification bell.